any news stories we can catch up on and kind of polish off? We were hitting that Sartell thing for a couple weeks. That was news. Is that still out there?
Yeah, that story has definitely not gone away. So last week we had discussed how parents were kind of wanting to sue this Equity Alliance Minnesota group for administering a survey in their students' classrooms without parental permission. And it comes out, all they wanted was the release of this survey via like the Minnesota Data Practices Act, because they're subject to that. So the group finally releases the survey, and it all of a sudden comes out that some of the questions on the survey are actually in violation of school policy. So in Sartell, it's policy 520, which states that if you're asking about a student's gender identity, religious status, other kind of identity related things, you have to get written parental permission in advance, and that was not the case here. So there definitely is grounds for a more formal lawsuit. Right now, parents are just asking for the school board chairman to resign, since he's the one that reviewed the survey, knowingly knew that this went against school policy, but just let it happen anyways.
So, but this teacher that said, hey, by the way, don't mention this to your parents, the person that person's not in any trouble whatsoever. Those words come out of a grown adult's mouth who's in charge of children, should not be in charge of children.
It sounds like parents are a little bit more frustrated at this Equity Alliance Minnesota than they are at like the school district and the school board, which to me, it's kind of misplaced frustration. You would think that the people administering the survey, the ones who are actually in charge of this group being in front of your students, there should be a little bit more frustration there. But I think the problem is that the legalness of it, they can sue the Equity Alliance Minnesota, they can't sue the school district.
Sure.
So that's kind of where that's coming in. I think this is probably the last week we're going to hear of it. Legal stuff, that takes time, but definitely it's going to be a story in the coming months.
But as this one is just going to start the next one, if there's anything, if you're watching, a lot of school boards are having a lot of parents coming in asking a lot of questions that they weren't getting asked 2 years ago, but because all their kids have been home and they're very ingrained parents now, I think we're going to see a lot more of this type of thing as it gets exposed. I've not seen this so many parents going to so many school board meetings and having a lot
about accountability. So
yeah. So that's pretty big. Let's do this. Because I'm running late because I did that whole intro thing with you. Let's do this. Go to break. When we come back, we'll get more of the biggest stories of the week from Alpha News in Review with Megan Olson. It's Megan Olson and Alpha News in Review. What other story you got for us this week, Megan?
Yeah, so I would be crazy to ignore it. It has been a crazy week in Minnesota politics. We talked about the John Thompson stuff. The DFL had their drama. Now the MNGOP is kind of having their own little ordeal going on, and it all started honestly last Thursday, so not even that long ago. And what kind of sparked this was that a man named Anton Lazaro was arrested for federal sex trafficking charges. He recruited 6 minors at least to engage in criminal or commercial sex acts. And so he was arrested in his downtown Minneapolis apartment last Thursday. And then later that day in the evening in the state of Florida, another woman was arrested. She was a 19-year-old student at the University of St. Thomas, kind of just his accomplice. So the reason why this is pertaining to Minnesota politics, and particularly MNGOP politics, is because this guy was an absolutely massive donor. He had a PAC, a super PAC called Big Tent Republicans. He was close friends with Chairwoman Jennifer Carnahan here in the state of Minnesota. So it's all kind of tied together. And honestly, it's just a really disgusting story to hear that this was happening in downtown Minneapolis. And it's just really disheartening, to be completely
strange things since that have come out. Is evidently they raided this guy's house, his condo, in like December, and hundreds of thousands of dollars, his cool car, gold bricks.
Yeah.
Who in the world's got gold bricks? Where do you go get gold bricks? And you're not taking them down the Quick Trip to buy a gallon of gas. What are you doing with gold bricks?
It's a really odd story. And so obviously federal investigations take a lot of time to go underway, and all, the investigations, they have to gather all of that information. So this all happened from May to December of 2020. And so now he's being arrested. Sounds like there was some interference in the investigation on his part last December. But yeah, like you said, I mean, he had $370,000 in cash, a Ferrari, 12 cell phones, 6 computers. I truly don't know why someone would ever need 12 cell phones, but I mean, I guess
very, very complex business. No, something's there. What it is, we don't know yet. And you're innocent until proven guilty in the U.S. We don't do this guilty by association thing. And I throw this out here. He's a big donor to the Minnesota GOP. Let's say guilty, fingers, quotes, he's guilty. I'm not sure you hold the team against the team that he decided to throw his money at. He could have been a DFLer, but we just, what I'm saying? I don't know how that, but I get how it stirs the pot.
That's kind of where the separation of things happened, which first of all, I just want to touch on the fact that if you are indicted by federal grand jury, these types of cases that involve sex trafficking of minors have a 95% conviction rate. So it's likely he will be deemed guilty. I think that's really irrefutable evidence.
That is an interesting number I had not heard. Okay, way to dig in. 95% if they say you did it, huh?
Because it's just so egregious. And so kind of then with the MNGOP side of things, it's people think that it's guilt by association, but really it's just this Lazaro incident has become a catalyst for more information to come out about the Republican Party that has nothing really to do with sex trafficking. Obviously, this was just a catalyst event that allowed for other people to come forward and share their stories of alleged sexual assault. Other things have come about a hostile work environment, things of that sort. So it's truly just kind of made the party crumble. It's just, it was a catalyst for all of these events we're seeing, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, on the other hand, and I don't remember who I was talking to, maybe it was Megan Olson. I'm not sure, other than political wonks and paper people like yourself, and I mean, don't take that in the wrong sense. You're not paper people, you're internet people.
All good.
Okay, but I don't know, other than folks like us, political wonks, I don't know that once the sex gets off the top of the headline, the rest doesn't become Minnesota GOP squabbling and mean boss or not mean boss. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much of this sticks in the long run. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's definitely a pretty niche topic. But I will say the best thing to come out of all of this is the fact that Lazaro's, I guess I would call it dirty money that he donated to the GOP and to all these other candidates, it's all going to anti-sex trafficking funds. So we're seeing people like Karin Housley, State Senator Roger Chamberlain, he stepped up. The MNGOP themselves have stepped up, and they're redirecting all of this money into anti-sex trafficking efforts, and particularly local organizations in Minnesota, which tend to be a little bit more impactful to the cause. So that's the good positive thing about all of this, is that they're donating that money to a cause that is worthwhile, and it's going to help combat this. So hopefully this never happens again.
Absolutely. If that's the good news, we got that out of there. Didn't you have something about Minnesota Realtors? This is nutty to me. This is the craziest thing ever. I mean, if all the problems in the world, like we just talked about a couple, if all the other problems are, out there fixed, then we can work on this. Can you talk about the Minnesota Realtors? This is
for sure.
Craziness.
A group of Minnesota Realtors, no real specific organization or anything, but just some realtors in Minnesota have kind of come forward and explained they're taking issue with the word master bedroom as it pertains to, what you call it in your home. You have one bedroom that's larger than the others.
I say it. We have a master bedroom in my home. I'm not being raised. We have a master bedroom. It's the big one. That's what people noted. They're
saying that this originates from plantations, the time during the United States when African Americans were enslaved. So they're saying that this term came from this time period, and they're kind of also tying it into a more gender inclusive language as well, saying like his and her sinks, mother-in-law suites, like those types of phrases need to be completely eradicated from. I don't know if it's like the Minnesota Realtors who like create that language or who it is that needs to make the change.
No, we just wrote a language. We didn't know what Googling was. I never invented the word Googling. Now we Google. It comes up through society. No one made a master plan to have master bedroom be something to hold anybody back. The Jack and Jill bedroom. I'm sorry if your name isn't Jack or Jill and that offends you. There's a bathroom there. You got to stop at some point.
It's a dual bathroom, Al.
No, I get it. My point is, it's like, stop being offended by stupid stuff. We've got other things to fix.
Well, and also
mother-in-law suite, for those that don't have mother-in-laws, congratulations to you. I got one. If I got a mother-in-law suite, put her in there.
That's a guest house. Thank you.
I can't get that. My point is, it's just the craziest thing to try to fix.
It's totally not unique to Minnesota. The New York Real Estate Board is reviewing this language change as well. And this all kind of started in Minnesota after the George Floyd incident when kind of people took over the square and uptown, all of that ordeal. That was kind of when apparently people had increased awareness and wokeness, is what one Minnesota realtor said.
I have an old house and we have a maid stairs in the back. It's a skinny little staircase up the back to get you in the back, so you don't got to go to the front of the house. It's called a maid stair. Couldn't call it a maid stair my whole life. I never had a maid.
It's just a
Never
stick.
had a maid. Never had a maid in there. Don't be offended. It's the maid.
I really don't think it'll stick, but it's just pretty crazy. The war on language is alive and well. It just is what it is. I mean, if you control language, you can kind of control a population. So we'll see if it sticks, but I don't think it will.
Crazy stuff. What's going on at the fair?
Yeah, so the Minnesota State Fair this year, for the first time, actually is instituting metal detectors. And so this is pertinent and relevant because the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus last week filed a lawsuit against particularly the Minnesota State Fair is put on by the Minnesota State Agricultural Society. So they're suing them, Ramsey County, and the Sheriff Bob Fletcher for not allowing for people to conceal carry on Minnesota State Fair property, which is honestly pretty surprising that it's disallowed. I'm surprised that they haven't sued sooner, I guess.
I think there's something to the fact that gun owners have always carried on the state during the state fair. No one said anything, but now you put a machine up that's going to go off. So I think it was a look, don't tell thing. What I don't know is the Minnesota State Fair a Minnesota thing, or is it like a little group and they run this thing and the state just helps them up?
Because it's the Minnesota State Agricultural Society in conjunction with Ramsey County, in conjunction with the state, in conjunction with the sheriff, there's too many factors in it for it to be just a statewide event. And so the Agricultural Society has come forward saying they have an obligation to prioritize health and safety. You can easily twist that and say, well, my health and safety needs to be prioritized. I need to be able to carry in case something were to happen, especially since we've seen a lot of shootings in gun-free zones like schools. If the state fair is a gun-free zone, that kind of puts a target on the state fair's back, especially when people are in massive crowds. I mean, if you've ever been to the state fair, you stand on top of a hill and look down and it's just thousands of people.
I love the state fair, always have. But let me ask you this, Megan, and this is a personal question, so if you don't feel comfortable, fine. But you're a young lady, you're in the Twin Cities. I don't remember the two county fairs that already had to close down at dark because hooligans, and I use hooligans, which may be another term people hate. I don't care. Hooligans were out and shooting things and fighting, and they're having to stop county fairs because of hooligans.
Mm-hmm.
Do you honestly think with all the stuff that's going on in Minneapolis, there won't be shenanigans going on? And yes, I use shenanigans. Shenanigans and hooligans are what's going to happen up there, and I feel sorry. Do you feel safe going?
And I personally don't carry. I'm getting my concealed carry at the end of the year. I'm lucky to have a fiance who's typically the one carrying, so I always feel protected. But I think just this is a basic infringement of the Second Amendment rights of all Minnesotans. So I definitely think this has a lot of legal grounds, and I've seen a lot of people come forward applauding this movement.
I don't want the state fair to come down on you, but would you suggest going to the state fair this year if there isn't that ability to protect yourself? And I'm just serious. Well, and again, there's metal detectors, so hopefully the bad guys, the hooligans, can't come in with their guns. But I think we have seen a prelude to what's going to happen to the fair, and I'm scared for folks up there. I really am.
A lot of people are going to clear out once sundown hits. So I think it's a safe idea, but kind of when the crowd gets a little bit rowdy, which it always kind of does around 7 or 8 o'clock at the state fair, it's kind of time to get on out of there.
Yeah, but the Midway is no fun if you don't see in the dark. Midway's just boring. Go to the Midway during the
I don't do the rides, so I just like the food.
Fair enough. What's your favorite fair food?
Deep fried cookie dough. For sure.
No, yeah, to me, it is the greatest moneymaker. The ice, icy is the greatest moneymaker. It's just frozen ice and some juice.
That's good too. Deep fried pickles. That's a close second.
No, a vegetable. Get out. It's the potato.
Is that
the potato thing? The potatoes are the best. They're the French fries. I know that's a huge moneymaker for them. Good for them, because who doesn't like that big old bucket of taters, man?
Oh, that's true. Or the turkey leg.
Too hard to eat. You know you won't grab that in front of your fiance. You're not going to do that until you're after married. I know that. That's not what happens.
Sure.
Right. Megan Olson, Alpha News and Review. You're fantastic. We'll get you back again next week.
Yep, sounds great.
All right.